In obtaining the true scriptures, even if it meant overcoming 81 hardships, it was actually 80 hardships. When Tang Sanzang and his disciples reached the Western Pure Land, the Buddha appeared polite on the surface, but had a certain tone of arrogance and disdain towards the scripture seekers. Upon seeing Sanzang come to request the scriptures, he first mocked the southern continent of Jambudvipa, which corresponds to China in reality. Your eastern land is the southern continent of Jambudvipa, where the sky is high, the land is vast, and the people are numerous. There is much greed, killing, lust, deceit, and fraud, so the scriptures cannot be fully transmitted. The reason is that the people of the southern continent are ignorant and unaware. He only allowed Tang Sanzang to select a few volumes from the scriptures to take back to the eastern land. In the end, Tang Sanzang obtained just 1/3 of the scriptures, meaning he only transmitted one collection. However, when they reached the sutra library, Ananda and Kashyapa openly demanded bribes from Tang Sanzang and his disciples. Do not underestimate Ananda and Kashyapa. These two are among the 10 principal disciples of the Buddha and were the second and third leaders of Buddhism after his passing. Such individuals committed such disgraceful acts. If it weren't for the secret help of the ancient Buddha Dipankara, the 14 years of hard work by the 4 disciples would have been in vain. Later on, when the 4 disciples discovered the blank scriptures, they decided to return to see the Buddha. However, what the Buddha said to them upon their return was truly shocking. The Buddha laughed and said, "Do not shout at them. They asked you for human feelings and intentions, but the scriptures cannot be lightly transmitted, nor can they be taken for free. In the past, monks and holy men went down the mountain and recited the scriptures at the house of Elder Zhao in the country of Shravasti, ensuring the safety of the living and the transcendence of the dead, and only received 3 du and 3 sheng of golden rice grains in return. I even said they sold it too cheaply, leaving future generations without money to use. Now you come empty-handed to take the scriptures." The Buddha did not blame his disciples, Ananda and Kashyapa, but said that in the past, reciting the scriptures only earned 3 du and 3 sheng of gold, which was too little, leaving future generations without money. Such ironic sarcasm. If we only mock the Jade Emperor, the Supreme Lord Laozi, and other deities, wouldn't that be too biased? At this point, it is evident to everyone that whether it is Taoism or Buddhism, the author did not spare them in any way. The good parts, like the Buddha's compassion, and Taoism's purity and non-action, and the great assistance from the heavenly court in overcoming hardships, are certainly good, but Journey to the West has a certain tendency to satirize and criticize religion. Now, let's think about the word black in black myth, Wukong. It can mean darkness, defamation, criticism, or thick-skinned. Just like the creative team once created the game Asura. If there are any depictions in black myth Wukong that contradict the views of our Chinese people on religion, I think it's quite normal and understandable. Because in the original Journey to the West, neither Buddhism nor Taoism was treated politely. Last year, when I first analyzed the plot of black myth Wukong, I proposed the idea of the demon clan uniting with Taoism to attack and destroy Buddhism. Of course, my thoughts and opinions have changed now. This viewpoint received much criticism in comments and private messages, with many saying, "How can you defame Taoism and still call yourself Chinese?" But I'm not trying to excuse myself. I just think that, given the original author had a certain satirical and critical attitude towards religion, it stands to reason that any dark depictions of Buddhism and Taoism in the game Black Myth, Wukong, should be understood or even expected. Considering the author's perspective, it is not surprising that these elements would be present in the game. Based on this information, if there are any dark speculations or explanations regarding Taoism and Buddhism in the subsequent plot predictions of Black Myth, Wukong, I kindly ask for your small tolerance. Please allow me to explain these aspects in detail. Journey to the West has countless gods and Buddhas, but its mythological system is somewhat different from the traditional Buddhist and Taoist mythological systems we know. First and foremost, in the context of Buddhism, the story of Journey to the West superficially employs the system of the Buddha Shakyamuni. However, in reality, it intricately blends the system of Amitabha Buddha with that of the Buddha Shakyamuni, thereby combining the two Buddhas who are not actually the same. In Buddhism, there are two distinct types of three Buddhas. The three Buddhas in time are categorized into the past Buddha, the present Buddha, and the future Buddha. The three Buddhas in space are divided into the Medicine Buddha of the Eastern Lapis Lazuli world, the Shakyamuni Buddha of the Saha world, and the Amitabha Buddha of the Western Pure Land. At the same time, Shakyamuni's disciples also appear in Journey to the West. For example, Ananda and Kashyapa, who are depicted as Tangsanzang's disciples, and another disciple, Maitreya, who is the future Buddha in the three Buddhas in time. In the plot of Journey to the West, the most important disciple of the Buddha is Guanyin Bodhisattva. However, he is not actually a disciple under the Buddha's system, but rather a disciple under Amitabha Buddha. In the Lotus Sutra, Amitabha Buddha, also known as the Buddha of infinite life and light, is the elder brother of Shakyamuni Buddha, Guanyin Bodhisattva, and Mahastama Prapta. Bodhisattva are actually the attendants of Amitabha Buddha, while the attendants of the Buddha are Manjushri Bodhisattva and Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. In the novel, for some unknown reason, Guanyin Bodhisattva becomes a disciple of the Buddha, which is somewhat different from the traditional Buddhist system. In the 7th chapter of the novel, when the Buddha introduces himself to Wukong, he says, "I am the Venerable Shakyamuni of the Western Pure Land, Namo Amitabha Buddha." The Buddha is originally the leader of the Saha world, while Amitabha Buddha is the leader of the Western Pure Land. The author merges the two Buddhas into one and says that the Buddha is also known as Amitabha Buddha. In this context, it is natural for Guanyin to be considered a disciple of the Buddha. However, it gets confusing because Amitabha Buddha is also the Buddha of reception. In the 98th chapter of Journey to the West, when Tang Sanzang and his disciples finally reach the Ling Mountain, they find that they need to cross from this shore to the other shore in order to achieve enlightenment. It is the Buddha of reception who ferries them across. This inconsistency is perplexing. As for the Taoist mythology system, it also differs from our traditional understanding. Taoism venerates the three pure ones. In chapter 44 of Journey to the West, it states that the three pure ones are Yuanxi Tianzun, Lingbao Tianzun, and Taishang Laojun. However, Lingbao Tianzun does not actually appear in the plot. Yuanxi Tianzun mentions attending the original assembly when Maitreya Buddha subdues the yellow eyebrow monster, and Taishang Laojun appears the most frequently. In Journey to the West, it is said he resides in the Tusita Palace in the Heaven of No Regrets, located in the 33rd heaven. In traditional Taoism, Taishang Laojun resides in the Great Low Heaven at the end of the three pure heavens, in the Great Red Heaven of the Supreme Pure Land. The so-called Tusita in Journey to the West is actually the Tusita Heaven of the Six Desires in Buddhism, which is the place where Maitreya Buddha practiced before becoming a Buddha. This is another example of mixing and blending. Regardless of whether it is Taoism or Buddhism, in Journey to the West, the ruler of the entire three realms is the Jade Emperor. His title is the High Heavenly Sage, the Great Compassionate and Benevolent Jade Emperor. The Jade Emperor is the highest deity in the three realms. Although he is a deity from the Taoist system, he is also the highest deity in popular belief. The human world, the underworld, and the Dragon Palace are all under his jurisdiction. Even religious leaders like the Buddha and Taishang Laojun, along with their numerous deities, are all subjects of the Jade Emperor in Journey to the West and must obey his commands. Some might ask why traditional Taoism venerates the three pure ones, while in Journey to the West the Jade Emperor's status is actually higher than the three pure ones. The earliest appearance of the Jade Emperor was during the Southern Dynasties. According to Tao Hongjing's diagram of true spirits, the Jade Emperor's status was below the three pure ones, with the Jade Emperor Daojun ranked 11th and the High Jade Emperor ranked 19th on the right. Later, these two merged into one, and during the Tang Dynasty, the Jade Emperor's status gradually rose. To match the 10 titles of Shakyamuni Buddha in Buddhism, Taoism also began to give the Yuanxi Tianzun of the three pure ones 10 titles, including the title of the High Jade Emperor. During the Tang Dynasty, the Jade Emperor became a title of the highest Yuanxi Tianzun of the three pure ones. This wasn't the end. The Jade Emperor continued to rise in status. During the Song Dynasty, which highly revered Taoism, Emperor Zhenzong conferred the title of Taishan Kaitian Jifu Jade Emperor Hanzhen to the Jade Emperor. Later, Emperor Huizong of the Song Dynasty, claimed to be the eldest son of the Jade Emperor, descended to the mortal world, merging the Hyotian Emperor with the Jade Emperor, making the Jade Emperor the highest deity in practice. In order to cater to the Emperor, Taoist priests quickly compiled the High Jade Emperor's Conduct Sutra. They fabricated elaborate stories about the Jade Emperor to provide an official endorsement for the foolish emperor. This led to the paradoxical situation where Taoism venerates the three pure ones, but the Jade Emperor is actually higher than the three pure ones. By the Ming Dynasty, the supreme status of the Jade Emperor had become a common consensus among the people. Therefore, the way Journey to the West is written is appropriate. However, it is not a complete copy. Taoist texts say the Jade Emperor went through 3,200 kalpas and became an immortal after 1 billion kalpas to become the Jade Emperor. Journey to the West simplifies this, saying that the Jade Emperor only went through 1,750 kalpas. Overall, the mythological system in Journey to the West differs from traditional beliefs.